order. Subcommittee for House File 2102. Myself, Senator Costello, and Senator Winkler are present. And fine folks in the room and online, welcome. This bill is for an act prohibiting the use of a language other than English for driver license exams. Do we have any opening comments, Senator Winkler?
No, happy to hear from others.
Senator Costello.
Yeah, I guess I'm just came off from the House, right? So do we have a background on it, or who brought it up, or was there a problem that brought it? If maybe somebody here knows, but that's a question I'd like answered.
Representative Meyer, by Representative Meyer. I do not know any particular issues. I think we've had something in transportation.
We should use our mics.
I think we've had something in transportation that alluded to this too. I could be wrong about that.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll hear the input, I guess.
Anyone want to offer comment?
Hi, my name is Susan Fenton. I'm the legislative liaison for the Iowa Department of Transportation. We are neutral on the bill. What the bill does is in current law, English is the official language in Iowa. There was an exemption for examinations of driver's license tests. This gets rid of that exemption. And also it says that we have to give knowledge and skills testing for CDLs in English only. And we do the knowledge test in Spanish and English. We do the skills test English only.
And that's in current law?
Yeah.
Correct. The CDL portion is federal law, and we follow that. That I don't know why this bill came up. It is by Representative Ann Meyer. And also there are 24 different languages in Iowa that are available for people to take their knowledge test. Not the skills test, the knowledge test.
Anyone else? Looks like we have a few people online. Anyone like to comment, please raise your hand.
Turn that so they can hear you.
Okay. I have a few people online. If anyone would like to comment, please raise your hand. Erica.
I'm not getting any read of whether you can hear me or not. My name is Erica Johnson with Iowa MJ. Are you good?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Erica Johnson. I'm the Executive Director with Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice, and we are opposed to the bill. It doesn't sound like it's necessary based on what was just shared. And we really believe that prohibiting the use of any language other than English would be harmful. It creates additional problems and doesn't do anything to address road safety. Creating additional barriers like this for people to access a driver's license can actually increase the number of uninsured, unlicensed drivers on the road, which would be a problem, which would contribute to less safe roads. Understanding road signs, following the rules of the road does not require native level English proficiency. The real problem that we see is Iowa's English only law, which was referenced a second ago. This is the issue, this is the problem that Iowa lawmakers really need to address. Excuse me. During the COVID-19 global pandemic, we really saw the harm of Iowa's English only law. It caused Iowa's local communities to be hamstrung because they were unable to communicate with vulnerable communities in the language that they understood. So at best, this law has been discriminatory against non-English speakers, and like this law that's being considered, this bill that's being considered, it would create additional barriers for Iowa residents who are simply trying to navigate and integrate into our communities. So again, we'd encourage folks to be against this bill and not against it.
Anyone else online? Seeing none, Closing comments, Senator Winkler.
I think that the need to have license, the knowledge-based test is very important for drivers. They need to know the why behind a lot of the laws in Iowa. Not every state has the same laws, driving laws. Certainly skill is consistent, but the driving is not. I think about the number of languages that school districts work with in their English language learning programs. And we want those individuals after they graduate, although they might not be as proficient as we'd like them to be, the goal certainly is for proficiency, but we need to recognize that we legally allow individuals that are not necessarily native English language speakers in our state, and we allow them to drive, and we need to reflect that. We even, as far as schools are concerned, give a bilingual certificate on their diploma if they've followed the criteria that are there. So we're encouraging bilingual language in one place and discouraging the assessment of knowledge in other places. I think it's inconsistent, and I don't support this bill.
Senator Costello.
So I guess I'm thinking about this a little bit more, and I think it is probably a positive thing to encourage people to, learn English well. And I do recognize that there are people that have other driver's licenses come from another country. They can drive here with their foreign licenses. But I'm guessing that if you can't speak English well enough to pass this exam, there might be some issues with understanding signs and understanding what you should be doing very quickly. I can speak Spanish, but it takes me a while. I have to translate stuff in my head, and I don't think it would be as easy for me to function in a Spanish, drive in a Spanish-speaking country.
But you're sorry.
I'm overall, I think that this may have some positive benefits and encourage people to learn English and kind of help them integrate into society. I am a little concerned about areas where we hear of groups that don't even try to learn English and don't try to integrate into our culture, and I think that's not a healthy thing for us. So I'm guessing this is trying an effort to help people be encouraged to integrate. And if you want to bring along Mike, I'll sign along with you.
Another person.
Would you like to
Apologize
comment?
for being late. I was at another subcommittee, so there's a lot happening in the state house today.
If you'd like to comment, we'll let you right now.
Sure. Hey, Senators. I apologize for being late. I'm Connie Ryan. I'm the Executive Director and Lobbyist for Interfaith Alliance of Iowa. We're registered opposed to the legislation. This bill does nothing to help public safety. It actually, I think, would hinder public safety when somebody takes a test, and if they can do so in their native language that they feel most comfortable in, they're going to understand the questions better, they're going to understand the concepts better. It does not mean that people are not able to speak English. A lot of folks who take the test, they can speak English, it's just not their native language that they feel that they grew up with and that they understand the language and the concepts and stuff. And so allowing folks to take it in their native language actually helps them to understand the questions better, understand the concepts better, and actually does increase public safety. We're not talking about folks who, most of the time, we're not talking about folks who have no English. We're talking about folks that have dual or tri-language skills, and just being able to take it in their own language is helpful to them and helpful to us as a public. This bill really just is intended to target the immigrant community and continue the narrative that immigrants don't have a place here. And that's just wrong in our very diverse country where we all of our families came from somewhere else. So we urge you to oppose this legislation. Thank you. And thanks for the opportunity.
I have another question. DOT. I just wanted you to know. Would Susan know, please? With DOT. So if we pass this law, you mentioned that federal law requires CDLs to be in English and Spanish, or another language. And you have those licenses available, and it's a federal regulation. What would this bill do to your ability to follow the federal legislation?
The federal guidance that came down from Secretary Duffy says that CDL tests have to be English only. So we would follow that.
Okay, the federal law. So then when the English only law passed, we had exempted the driver's licenses. And I would like to see any data where if there is any data in accidents as a result of that, the drivers, if we can, I don't want to target, and maybe this request just isn't appropriate at all, but we have lived in a society for years where the drivers are following the law. Licensed drivers, most drivers are following the law. It has nothing to do with the being able to take a test in a different language, has nothing to do with the skills, because the skills are not in other languages. It's just the knowledge. And I think that we need to reinforce the knowledge so that they have a clear understanding of our laws. Senator Costello, you mentioned that you speak Spanish, but you wouldn't be comfortable driving in a country where Spanish
It wouldn't be as easy.
Pardon me?
I wouldn't find it as easy, for certainly.
But your driver's license would allow you to do that. And so is this a double standard? Our driver's license can be used and are portable in other countries. We are in this situation potentially preventing individuals that are a part of our state from being able to drive, which means that their ability to work, and businesses' ability to hire them to work would have an impact as well. Part of the reason that it is so very important, I think, is how we as an agricultural state use individuals that are not always English-speaking individuals for our agriculture. The other thing that I would say is the last census population or report identified that foreign-born individuals were a growing population in our state. That kind of account allows us to have representation in the federal government. It allows us to have representation at the table in the Senate and the House as we set our districts. I think that we have, those individuals are here. And we need to respect that they have an opportunity, should have the very same opportunity to thrive in our state. And this is going to prevent them from thriving. It's going to prevent businesses from hiring. It's one of those things. We talked about this on the floor the other day. Secretary Pate had a group of students from Drake, and he made the statement to them that we're not we're not kind to all people. We're not Iowa nice unless we're nice to everyone. And so we have leaders who support more access and equity, and I just wish that we would reflect that with our legislation. I think that this will have a ripple effect not only across communities in regard to jobs, but also across businesses in our state. And I think that we need to think very carefully when we again divide populations by access. Thanks.
All right. Anyone else? That's it. In order to become a U.S. citizen, you have to be proficient. You have to demonstrate a basic level of proficiency in reading, writing, and speaking English. When I was driving here this morning, every single sign was in English. We all know the story about the truck driver who decided, I think I can do a U-turn right in the middle of the road, and decapitated an entire family. I'm guessing he was not proficient in English and understanding the signs well. If you need that to become a U.S. citizen and be assimilated into our culture, then I think it's at least worthy of further discussion. So I'd like to move this bill. Meeting adjourned.
We should have had that all done. To get a license gun, you need
Senator Pike, when and where exactly was that incident you're referencing? And what,
I think
on what
that-
basis do you say that the
I think
driver
that was the
not-
Florida, if I recall, it was in Florida was that about a year or so ago?
And do you have any basis
Maybe
for
you could-
saying that the driver was not proficient in English?
I believe he was from, I do not know specifically whether he was understood English or not, but he clearly did a move that was against the law.
And I mean, there are lots of drivers who cause fatal accidents.
There are, but when you don't understand the signs, then you're bound to break the law.
And then you think that accident happened. I just don't know the circumstances of the accident. You think that happened because he didn't understand signs?
Didn't understand something.
Okay, when this bill was debated in the House, it was said that there is no evidence that English speakers versus non-English speakers have different rates of car accidents. So I was wondering if you have any data on that.
I can take.
You could possibly get me some data on
Yeah,
that.
you can get some data. I can take that for you.
Okay.